Hey, in today's lesson, you are going to learn 3 new terms. You're going to learn hiatus, hypothesis, and idiosyncrasy. Are you ready? Well then, let's jump right in. All right, our very first term is the term hiatus. Again, hiatus. Last time after me, hiatus. Excellent. Now, this term hiatus just means a pause or a gap in a sequence, series, or process. Again, a pause or a gap in a sequence, series, or process. For example, you are watching this lesson or listening to it on the Speak English with Tiffani podcast. Now, this podcast episode comes out every week. This YouTube video lesson comes out every week. But let's say, for example, I went on vacation or I wanted to spend some time with some friends and I said, hey, I'm not going to post this week. I'm going to take a short hiatus. Again, a pause in a series, sequence, or process. Make sense? Excellent. All right, here's the first example sentence. There was a brief hiatus in the war with France. There was war going on with France, but they decided to pause for a short period. They decided to stop just for a short time. They decided to take an hiatus. So there was a brief hiatus in the war with France. Next, they both decided that it was time to take a hiatus. Maybe it's a couple. Maybe it's a boyfriend and girlfriend or even a husband and a wife, and the relationship is very difficult, very challenging. So they need to just stay apart for a while. We need to take a hiatus. We need to separate for a moment. Once again, they both decided that it was time to take a hiatus. And finally, peace talks resumed this week after a 5-week hiatus. They had been apart, they had been separated, they had paused for 5 weeks, but now they're coming back. So once again, peace talks resumed this week after a 5-week hiatus. Make sense? Excellent. All right, now it's time for us to check out a simple sentence structure. A sentence structure you can use in order to use this word in real life like a native English speaker. So the term is hiatus, and here is our simple sentence structure. So we have the first blank being A. A represents a person or a group. So A took a hiatus from B, and B represents the activity. So again, we have 2 blanks, the first one being letter A, which is a person or a group. So A took a hiatus from B, which is the activity. So let's actually come up with some examples to make some sentences using this structure. All right, here we go. So for the first one, for letter A, again being the person or the group, what we're going to do is say she. All right, so we have she. And then for the activity, let's say the activity is going to be social media. All right, social media. Okay, so for our first example, we have she took a hiatus from social media. All right, being on social media. Here we go. Here's our next one. Let's say the team. All right, for the people, we have the team. All right, the team. All right, then for the activity, I want us to say training. All right, training. So for the sentence, we have the team took a hiatus from training. Normally they train every single day, but they're tired, they need a break. The team took a hiatus from training. You got it? Excellent. All right, now our third example. Here we go. I'm going to say I now. I, and then the activity is working out. I like to work out. Your teacher likes to stay in shape. All right, but every once in a while, you need a break. So here's the sentence. I took a hiatus from working out. Typo. Let me actually finish typing that out. I said working out. Here we go. Working out. I added the ing. So again, our last one is I took a hiatus from working out. You got it? Excellent. So now you understand the term hiatus and also the simple sentence structure using this term. Now it's time for us to go to our second term. Our second term is hypothesis. Again, hypothesis. Last time after me. Hypothesis. Excellent. All right. This term hypothesis, it just refers to a supposition or proposed explanation made on the basis of limited evidence as a starting point for further investigation. All right. So again, you don't have enough evidence, but you're just guessing. It's a supposition. I think this might be the case. I need to get some more evidence, but I have a hypothesis. I'm guessing. Make sense? Excellent. All right. So here's the first example sentence using this term. Professional astronomers attacked him for popularizing an unconfirmed hypothesis. So this individual, he popularized this supposition. It wasn't supported by enough evidence, but because of this individual, it actually started to get popular. So once again, professional astronomers attacked him for popularizing an unconfirmed hypothesis. Here's the next sentence. Several hypotheses for global warming have been suggested. There have been many different suppositions, many different guesses about global warming. I said warning. Global warming. So once again, several hypotheses for global warming have been suggested. And finally, a hypothesis is something more than a wild guess, but less than an established theory. It's not just a guess because it has some support, just not enough support. So once again, a hypothesis is something more than a wild guess, but less than an established theory. Make sense? Excellent. All right, now let's look at this simple sentence structure using this term. We have the hypothesis is that, and we have one blank, one space, letter A being the statement. So once again, the hypothesis is that, and then we insert a statement. So let's look at 3 examples using this example sentence structure. Here's the first one I want to use for hypothesis. Let's say eating vegetables makes you healthier. Here we go. Eating vegetables makes you healthier. All right. This is a statement. All right. This is a hypothesis. So again, what are we looking at? We're looking at a hypothesis, and this is the sentence. The hypothesis is that eating vegetables makes you healthier. I think this is true, but it can be considered a hypothesis. All right, so our first one. Now let's look at this second example. Again, we're writing a statement. All right, a statement will be students learn faster with games. All right, students learn faster with games. All right, students learn faster with games. Here's the sentence. The hypothesis is that students learn faster with games. Again, A being the statement. All right, the statement is students learn faster with games. You got it? Excellent. All right, here is our third example. Again, we're writing a statement to fill in letter A of our example sentence structure. Let's say dogs understand human emotions. All right? Dogs understand human emotions. This is a supposition, a hypothesis, right? Human emotions. It has some support, but it might need more. Here's the full sentence. The hypothesis is that dogs understand human emotions. You got it? Excellent. All right. Now this leads into our third term. Our third term is a good one, and I want you to listen very closely for the pronunciation. Idiosyncrasy. Idiosyncrasy. Last time after me. Idiosyncrasy. Excellent. Excellent. All right. This term idiosyncrasy just refers to a mode of behavior or way of thought peculiar to an individual. Something that is unique to that individual. Something that is not really common, but you know, if you hear about this behavior, you know, that's Tom, or that's Sarah. Again, idiosyncrasy just refers to a behavior or way that is unique or peculiar to a specific individual. Make sense? Excellent. All right, here's the first example sentence. One of his little idiosyncrasies was always preferring to be in the car first. So he always had to be the first one in the car. That's unique. I mean, it's not really that big of a deal, but for him, it was. So again, one of his little idiosyncrasies was always preferring to be in the car first. Here's the next example sentence. People don't like her many idiosyncrasies. People don't like that she has many quirks or many unique qualities or many peculiarities. We don't really, people weren't comfortable with these little idiosyncrasies. Again, people don't like her many idiosyncrasies. And finally, I have seen many idiosyncrasies in the prison system. I have seen many peculiar things, many different behaviors in the prison system. Once again, I have seen many idiosyncrasies in the prison system. Make sense? Excellent. You know what time it is. Now it's time for us to look at a simple sentence structure using this term. Now for this sentence structure, you'll notice that we have two empty spaces, A and B. So here it is. One idiosyncrasy of A is B. Again, one idiosyncrasy of A is B. So letter A represents the person. So one idiosyncrasy of, insert the person, is B. And B represents a habit or behavior. All right, so let's get some examples to fill in the blanks to help you understand how to use this simple sentence structure. So for the person, I'm going to start with my teacher. All right, so let's put my teacher. All right, that's letter A. Now we're going to add letter B, which is a habit or behavior. So the habit is repeating the same joke every day. That would get a little bit overwhelming. Like, okay, that is peculiar. Repeating the same joke every day. Here we go. Repeating the same joke every day. All right. Again, this is an idiosyncrasy. So one more time. One idiosyncrasy of A is B. And our first example sentence is going to be, one idiosyncrasy of my teacher is repeating the same joke every day. You got it? Excellent. All right. Now let's give another example for letter A, the person. We're going to say my friend. All right. My friend. And what is the habit or the behavior? We're going to say checking her phone constantly. All right. Here's the behavior. Checking her phone constantly. All right? Checking her phone constantly. So now the sentence is, one idiosyncrasy of my friend is checking her phone constantly. Makes sense, right? Excellent. All right, now let's look at the last example using this sentence structure. Here it is. For A, or the person, we're going to say the actor. All right, the actor. And for the behavior, we're going to say wearing the same hat every day. Wearing the same hat every day. That's something very peculiar, right? So now we have one idiosyncrasy of the actor is wearing the same hat every day. You got it, right? Now you understand how to use this simple sentence structure for the term idiosyncrasy. All right, today you learned 3 new terms. You learned hiatus, hypothesis, and idiosyncrasy. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Don't forget, if you want to continue studying with me and getting 5 new words every single day for free via email, all you have to do is go to www.dailyenglishvocabulary.com, and I'll talk to you in the next lesson.